I want my students to be well-informed Buddhists. So to become a well-informed Buddhist, a person must understand some topics or some subjects in the teachings of the Buddha. So in the commentaries it is said that a person must understand the 5 aggregates, the 12 bases, the 18 elements, 4 noble truths, and then dependent origination, and 37 members of enlightenment. At past retreats, I have talked about the 5 aggregates, 12 bases, 18 elements, and 4 noble truths. So today we will study, we will try to understand the dependent origination. In Pali it is called paticca samuppada. This teaching or this doctrine is translated into English in different ways. Some translated it as conditioned genesis, and others as dependent origination, and also some others translated as dependent co-arising. Now, dependent co-arising means arising together. Although the Pali word samuppada can mean arising together, it may be a little misleading, because if we say co-arising, we will understand it to mean the cause and effect arising together. But in the links, in the teaching of paticca samuppada, in some links, cause and effect arise together, but in others, they belong to different times. So, if we say dependent co-arising, then it may mean just cause and effect arising together, and not cause and effect belonging to different times. So I think it is preferable to translate it as dependent origination or dependent genesis rather than dependent co-arising, because lately this translation, dependent co-arising, has become maybe more popular with people in the West. And this teaching or this doctrine is a very important teaching in the teachings of the Buddha. And we find this teaching only in Buddhism, only in the teachings of the Buddha. And it describes mental and physical phenomena as dependent upon each other. It teaches what we call conditionality of things. Things means conditionality of mind and matter. First, we must understand that this teaching, the dependent origination, deals with living beings only, deals with the world of living beings only. So we cannot explain the existence of inanimate things, existence of mountains, trees, and so on, with reference to the teaching of dependent origination, because it deals only with living beings. And this doctrine, this teaching is, as I said, an important teaching, because it teaches that with regard to living beings, there is nothing which is absolute. Everything related to or belonging to the living beings is conditioned by some other thing. So nothing is absolute, nothing is without cause. So there is always a condition or a cause for everything that belongs to living beings. And this doctrine is not created. I mean, the conditionality. The subject of this doctrine is conditionality. The conditionality is not created by the Buddha. It is said that whether the Buddhas arise in the world or not, there is this conditionality. And Buddhas appear and discovered it and then reveals it to the world. So Buddha was not the creator of conditionality, but the discoverer. And the Buddha discovered this doctrine just before he became the Buddha. Actually, he discovered it when he was still a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva means a person who has aspired for Buddhahood but who has not yet gained enlightenment. So I think you are familiar with the bodhisattva, say, sitting under the Bodhi tree and practiced meditation and became the Buddha. Now, on that day, I hope you all know on what day Buddha became the Buddha. What was that day? On the full moon day of May, right? Actually, on the night of the full moon day of May. So, in the evening, Buddha approached a tree and sit under that tree, and he sit cross-legged, and he resolved that he will not break this cross-legged position until he became the Buddha. And then he practiced meditation. And during the first watch of the night, now the night is divided into three parts. So during the first part of the night, Bodhisattva gained jhanas, and also the wisdom or ability to remember his past lives. And during the second watch of the night, that is midnight watch, he gained the wisdom to see beings dying from one existence and being reborn in another. And during the third watch of the night, the Bodhisattva contemplated on the doctrine of dependent origination. It is said that he went back and forth many times, and then after that he practiced vipassana on the factors of dependent origination, on ignorance, on mental formations, and so on. So he first discovered the dependent origination, and he contemplated on this doctrine back and forth, and then he practiced vipassana meditation on the factors of dependent origination. At the end, he became the Buddha. So Bodhisattva, or the Buddha, discovered this just before his enlightenment. After he became the Buddha too, he contemplated on the dependent origination. So after he became the Buddha, he spent 7 days under the Bodhi tree, and sitting under the Bodhi tree, he enjoyed the bliss of emancipation, and he contemplated on the doctrine of dependent origination in the due order and in the reverse order. And this doctrine of dependent origination is actually not easy to understand. So in order to understand it fully, then you need to have a knowledge of the fundamentals of Abhidhamma. That means you need to have a knowledge of the four ultimate truths. You need to have a knowledge of different types of consciousness, mental factors going along with these types of consciousness, material properties, and at least these three ultimate realities you need to know, you need to have knowledge of in order to understand dependent origination fully. You also need to know the 24 modes of causality or 24 modes of conditions taught in the 7th book of Abhidhamma. Only when you apply the 24 modes of conditionality to the doctrine of dependent origination do you understand it fully and thoroughly. So tonight I will not go into minute details of the doctrine of dependent origination, and I believe you do not hope to understand it, say, fully with just one talk. It will need a series of talks to really understand the doctrine of dependent origination. But tonight I will explain to you just the fundamentals of dependent origination and just what you can understand without much knowledge of Abhidhamma. This dependent origination is like a garland of flowers. You can pick up at any place and then explain, beginning with that place you picked up. So you can pick up at the beginning and then go to the end, or you can pick up at the end and go back to the beginning, or you can pick up in the middle and go forward to the end or backward to the beginning. And that was what Buddha did during 45 years of his ministry. So whenever Buddha taught dependent origination, sometimes he start from the beginning, sometimes he pick up at the end and then went backward, or sometimes he pick up in the middle and go forward or backward. Now, where do you want to pick up? At the beginning or at the end?
Beginning.
I think we will follow the line of thought taken by Bodhisattva immediately his enlightenment, and that is from the end. So Bodhisattva picked up at the end and then went backward.
Sư hỏi quý vị là bây giờ quý vị muốn bắt đầu từ chỗ nào, từ đầu, từ cuối hay giữa?
I think that is quite logical. To start from the end and go backward to the beginning. Now please look at the second page. Now, number 11. What do you see there? Conditioned by birth, aging and death, and sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair arise. So conditions by birth, aging and death arise. So let us leave out sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair for a while. Now, Bodhisattva picked up aging and death. Now he contemplated like this. Oh, there in the world there is aging and death, and everybody has to become old, and everybody has to die, and there is no escape from aging and death. And then he thought to himself, what conditions aging and death? Why there is aging and death? That is his line of thought. So he picked up first aging and death, which is very real to us, to him, right? It is very real. We are getting old day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, and one day we will all die. So aging and death is very real to us. So Bodhisattva took what was real and then tried to find out what conditions aging and death, or what is the cause or condition of aging and death. Now he had fulfilled the parameters for many, many lives, and so his wisdom was very, very close to the wisdom of the Buddha at the time. He was a Bodhisattva. So, after considering this through, not through meditation at that time, I mean through wise attention, or just contemplating or considering on the condition of aging and death, then the knowledge arose in him that the condition of aging and death is what? Birth, right? So, what is the condition of aging and death? Or why is there aging and death? Because there is birth. It's very true. Why do we get old? Why shall we one day die? Because we had birth. We are born as human beings. We begin our life of human being with birth as a human being. So when there is birth, there is old age. Nobody can prevent us from prevent us from getting old. So when there is birth, there inevitably is aging, and also in the end there is death. So when Bodhisattva contemplated, he found out correctly that birth is the condition of aging and death. Then Bodhisattva went backward. What is the condition of birth? Why is there birth as human being for us?
Craving.
Look at 10. Bhava, right? I did not translate the word bhava. So you don't know what bhava is, do you? So the condition of birth is bhava. Bhava is translated as becoming. But we cannot translate the word bhava as becoming every time we see the word bhava. That is the trouble with, say, translating Pali, say, discourses into English or, say, in any language. Because we have to understand the context and then translate it according to the context. Here, bhava has two meanings. One is something from which some other thing arises. Now, the other meaning is something that arises. What we are familiar with is something that arises, that is bhava. See, our life is called bhava. But the other meaning is not understood by many people, and that is the cause of something actually. So here bhava means that. Bhava means something that is the condition of or the cause of some other thing. So here bhava really means kusala and akusala karma. Strange? So what is the condition of, or what is the cause of birth? The Bodhisattva found out that the condition of, or the cause of birth was bhava, which means kusala or akusala karma, wholesome or unwholesome karma. Because we do wholesome or unwholesome karma, there is rebirth. If we did not do any wholesome or unwholesome karma, there will not be rebirth at all. Now we have rebirth as human beings, and this rebirth is caused by the karma we did in the past. And that karma, either good or bad, or kusala or akusala, is what is called bhava here. So the condition of rebirth as being is the karma beings did in the past, and that karma can be either wholesome or unwholesome. What do you do when you make donations, when you take precepts, so when you practice meditation? Wholesome karma or unwholesome karma? Wholesome karma. Sometimes you may do some unwholesome karma. Why do we do wholesome karma? Why do we do unwholesome karma? Now, if we are to be reborn, and it's sure that we will be reborn, then do you want to be reborn in a better existence or go down to the lower state? So in order to be reborn in the better state, what do? Wholesome karma. Sometimes, led by false teachers, you may do unwholesome karma, believing that it would lead you to rebirth in higher existences or higher realms. For example, there are some teachings that if you sacrifice an animal, then you will be reborn in a world of devas, right? Sometimes, for the sake of someone who has died, you have to sacrifice an animal, or even maybe a human being or something like that. And with the belief that it will lead you to a better state, you do this sacrifice. And the sacrifice itself, or killing an animal, is akusala. So sometimes we do akusala in order to, or with the belief that we will be reborn in a better existence. So, because we grasp at things, we grasp at the existence, we do kusala and akusala or bhava. So, what is the condition of kusala and akusala karma? If you don't know, look at the chart. Grasping, right? Grasping. So, grasping is the condition of bhava, which is kusala and akusala karma. Now, what is grasping? It is sometimes translated as clinging, holding on to something. Now, grasping or clinging is an intense form of attachment and wrong view. There can be two degrees or two levels of attachment. Not so strong attachment and strong attachment. So when attachment becomes strong, it becomes grasping. That means first, say you are attached to something, and then when you are strongly attached to it, you cannot let it go. So the grasping is compared to a snake swallowing a frog. So once the frog is in the what you call jaws of the snake, it cannot go out. Or once the frog is in his mouth, the snake will not let it go. In the same way, once we have grasped at things, we will not let them go. So that is called grasping. And there are 4 kinds of grasping, but say I'll talk about only 2 of them. The one is we grasp at things by attachment, or we grasp at things by wrong view, taking wrongly that things are impermanent, or taking wrongly that there is no benefits of, say, doing good things, or there is not this next life, there is no kusala to be obtained from paying respects to one's parents and so on. So in brief, 2 things are called grasping: strong attachment and wrong view. So whenever we come across objects in our life, we tend to grasp at them, sometimes by attachment, strong attachment, sometimes by wrong view, sometimes maybe by both, because of that grasping or strong attachment to things, strong attachment to our lives. We do both wholesome and unwholesome karma. That is why the condition of bhava, or wholesome and unwholesome karma, is said to be grasping. Now we have attachment to our lives, everybody has. And then we heard other people say that the life of devas is much better than the life of human beings. Then we are attached to that life of deva. We want to become devas, we want to become brahmas. So in order to become devas or brahmas, then sometimes we do the right thing, which is wholesome karma, and sometimes we do the wrong thing, the unwholesome karma. So the condition for bhava, which is wholesome or unwholesome karma, is the grasping. In order for the strong attachment and strong wrong view to arise, there must be what? Weak, or a weaker attachment. So what is the condition of grasping? When Bodhisattva contemplated on this, he found out that the condition of grasping is craving. Now craving is, in Pali it is called tanha. So tanha, the literal translation of tanha is thirst. See, when you are thirsty, you want to drink water. So this thirst for, say, things, thirst for beings, is called craving here. And this craving is actually lobha, attachment. But it is not so strong as grasping. So before it becomes strong, it must be a little less strong or weaker. So that weak attachment is called craving. And when it develops into strong craving, then it becomes grasping. So grasping has craving for its condition.